Cyber Reapers. Hello, Cyber Reapers. So, tonight or today, whenever, wherever you are, I would like to talk about a book. So, this book is somewhat plant related, but I don't have like an algae plushie, so we're going with an avocado plushie. Does it make sense? Probably not. But still, just as a little prop. Yes, this book is oddly comforting considering it is technically horror, but it's a coastal, young adult, queer horror where, and there's fantasy in it as well. Fantasy. But it feels like a love letter to anybody who just wants to feel comfortable in their own skin. And this is especially the case for non-binary people, I feel like. So, yes, it is horror, but it's really less meant to scare and more meant to comfort, I think. So, that's a really interesting vibe, I feel like, that I don't see very often. I don't know, maybe I haven't read all the right horror books yet. But yes, let's talk about it. So, it's got all that crinkliness from the library wrap around the book. So, this book is called They Bloom at Night. It's by Trang Thanh Tran. And so, yeah, this book, like I said, it is a young adult fantasy horror. It's got mystery elements in it. It's got a romance subplot, queer romance in particular. And so it's got a lot to it. It's also, though, fairly a light read. So, yeah, let's talk about it. So to set up, this book takes place in the coastal town of Mercy. It is called Mercy, the town. And in recent years, Mercy has been slowly eroding away. Fewer and fewer people are in the town. And I mean, some of that is because of the recent hurricane causing a lot of destruction. And there's also this weird red algae that's been just everywhere in the water, and that's been creeping people out. And yeah, so there's that. But on top of that, people are disappearing. So a lot of mysterious stuff is going on in this town. Now, our main character, let's talk about our main character. So our main character, their name is Nhung, and they also go by Noon. And they are a Vietnamese American queer person. And they don't ever actually explicitly choose or say a label out loud regarding their gender or sexual or romantic orientation, but they like both girls and guys, and they feel like they aren't a girl or guy. They feel like something different, and so that's why I'm going to refer to them using they them pronouns, even though growing up they were treated as a girl. So yeah. And also, as another thing to note in terms of their representation. They, during this book, they're recovering from a sexual assault, so it's not explicitly described on page. It's just they're after their recovery, and trying to be comfortable in their own skin is a large part of this book, and a lot of the horror really plays into that. So that's the overall, like, really big themes you get into in this book are about feeling comfortable in your own skin whenever the rest of the world seems against you trying to explore who you really are and who you really want to be. And it shows it through this very specific coastal monster creature situation. So, let's get into the situation surrounding Nyong. Like I said about Mercy, the town, it's kind of eroding away. Nyong, though, they don't want to leave. Not really. I mean, they kind of feel like it maybe would be better if they did, but they stay there with their mother. They stay in Mercy, and Nyong and their mother end up basically just shrimping and trying to continue on their boat, even though they're both they're grieving, and Nyong's mother is kinda in denial about a couple of family deaths, or a couple of people who are missing in their family, specifically Nyong's younger brother and also their father. So it's just Nyong and their mother right now, and they're just trying to continue on. But yeah, the conditions surrounding them right now make that a little difficult, because there's not a lot of good fish showing up that they're catching. There's a lot of weird stuff turning up, and the red algae doesn't seem to help, so yeah. So, situation gets even worse, though, because the person who manages the dock, he's a real piece of work. So he though is threatening to take their boat away if Nyong and their mother don't go find the creature that is theoretically responsible for all the people disappearing. And, you know, the person running the dock, he's certain it's a creature. Nyong, meanwhile, is like going, I don't think it's I don't think it's like some weird monster like some people seem to think it is. But, you know, there's time to discover that mysterious element and figure out more about what's going on in this town. But as, you know, kind of as a way of insurance of making sure Nyong and their mother don't just like run away, the dock master dude, he sends his daughter with them. So his daughter, that's Covey. So Covey is a lesbian, and she is good with weaponry, and so she's there to help like hunt down the creature, even though she's also kind of dubious about there being a creature instead of it just being a person or people leaving or people drowning. You know, there's a lot that could have happened in this town, not necessarily a creature being involved at all. Or maybe it's all of the above. So yeah, so it primarily rests on Nyong and Covey, to figure out this mystery, because Nyong's mother's not doing well. So our two main characters go and set out to figure out what's going on. And this involves, a bunch of, following a bunch of leads. I was about to say leaves. That's not it. Following a bunch of leads, they go figure out stuff about scientists who were investigating the algae, and they investigate the people who disappeared, stuff like that, going around to a bunch of different avenues. Now, I won't get into that as much, because that's for you to figure out, but over the course of the story, as they discover more, Jung really figures out more about their self, and that, I think, is really what the heart of the story is. I keep coming back to the idea of being comfortable in your own skin, and that's really what this whole thing is, while being wrapped up with coastal monster creatureiness and mysterious vibes. So that's this book. And it was such a good time. It was such a good time. I feel like it was kind of like a hug, How odd for a horror book to feel like a warm, welcoming hug, but it really does. Especially being non-binary, I felt it. I felt that this was such a gender-affirming kind of a book. One that kind of goes, even if you feel like a monster, or even if you feel like the world is painting you as a monster, you should really be able to embrace how you want to be, And so the allegories are really cool, and it just, it's all so good. I love it. And then, on top of there being, allegorical stuff having to do with queerness, there's also literal stuff. The main character really just, Jung doesn't really feel like a girl or like a boy, and there's a lot of gender exploration, and it's, there's also a queer found family in this book. In terms of representation, there's, our main character, we already kind of talked about them. There's also the love interest who is lesbian, that's Covey, and the light sort of romance subplot is very, very light. It really focuses on the two of them interacting platonically, or at least in a way that doesn't involve kissing or sex, that kind of intimacy. And I think that's really, really important, given that our main character is still moving on and recovering from a sexual assault. They are a survivor. So it's, I think, really important to show how romance afterwards can be very different, and recovering from that is, sometimes it means that you're not as physically intimate or nearly as comfortable with that anymore, but showing the way that you can be still emotionally intimate with someone without being physically intimate, and I love that very much. I think they showed this very well in the book. And then in addition to those two, there's a trans girl and a bi guy. So that's kind of our queer found family group that Jung ends up finding, and that's super cool. I love it. And it's just so neat to see that friend group where they really do accept each other and support each other so much after everything they've been through, and they really feel like it's the end of the world for them. And another thing on that, I'm actually not sure if this book maybe takes place somewhat in the future, because the way they describe things sometimes, I can't tell if they're talking about Mercy feeling like a post-apocalyptic place, like the town, or if the entire world is or something. But I could see it being either modern day or in the near future. Either way, the characters really bond together, and it kind of feels like a post-apocalyptic kind of a book sometimes, with their limited resources and how they share things, how they manage things, and the abandoned spaces in the town, and all of that. So I thought that was pretty neat as well. And while we're talking about characters, the relationship between Nyo and their mother, their relationship is so difficult, but so, it was so well written to be difficult and cathartic, and to show that sometimes kids really need to just figure out who they are on their own without their parents advising them through it, because sometimes what the parents think is for the best is not really what is best for the kid. And it's just, yeah, there's a lot to it that I feel like I should just let you experience if you choose to read it. But their relationship is very well written and complex. So there's that as well. And then the contrast between that and the relationship between Covey and her father as well, that was written really well too. Yeah. The relationship between like the kids and the parents are really interesting to read. So, and of course, as well as like there being a lot of themes and a lot of stuff talking about the queerness in the story, there's also the Vietnamese aspect of the main character's identity. So Mercy as a town is kind of composed of like a few different groups of people. There are like Vietnamese people, Cantonese people, white people, so it's just kind of, it's a little bit of a mix. And so the cast is overall kind of a blend of Vietnamese and white people, and there are Vietnamese words and phrases in the book as well, especially between Nhung and their mother. So it's there's stuff with that as well. There's racism, discrimination, even in this town that is so small now, and like Covey's dad barely has a foothold left in his wealth and control over the area. There's still discrimination there, of how he treats other people. So there's that as well to explore. So yeah, this book really does a lot with addressing identity and particularly with how it pertains to Jung and their sense of self. It just, I kind of want to talk about the ending, but I won't, because there's spoilers there. But the ending is very satisfying. It's very satisfying, I'll leave it at that. So much self-acceptance. I love it. So, what else did I have to cover? I think there might have been one other thing or two. So, actually, I did cover everything in my little list of notes. Yeah, and just the horror in this book felt so oddly welcoming. And I loved it taking place on the coast. I live in Houston, so hurricanes are definitely a thing that I've experienced growing up. And actually, it's hurricane season, by the way, right now. It started a few days ago, for me. Yeah, by the time this uploads, it should still be maybe a week or so into hurricane season. So there's been a lot of rain. And I don't know, maybe I'll try to record some of it for a future video. Sometimes it's just like this loud blanket, though. I'm not sure if the microphone will pick it up super well, but we'll see, because I love it. I love the sound of the rain. And I listen to a lot of ASMR and ambiance videos that have rain in the background, because it's just so calming. So, who knows, maybe I'll try to capture some of that for y'all. Because coastal rain is so much better than inland rain, I feel like. It's just so much more powerful and, well, loud. When I went to Portland, to be fair, Portland is sort of on the coast, kind of like Houston is, but very different rain. People told me that Portland had a lot of rain, and so I got excited. I get there and it's like a drizzle. Like, yeah, it drizzles a lot, but it doesn't rain a lot. Not like in Houston. Yeah. So I love the rain. And so I loved also the, just talking about the devastation of hurricanes in this book. Felt very relatable. Because, yeah, I've definitely seen, houses with pretty much their entire lawns filled after a flood, because all the furniture has to go. That was after Hurricane Harvey in particular. Beryl wasn't so bad. Hurricane Beryl was more recent. It wasn't as bad, at least in the area that I'm in. I don't know about areas more south. But yeah, hurricanes are definitely a thing. I'll take them over wildfires, though. At least based on my experience of both. Yeah, so I love rain that's peaceful. How about that? I'll just say that. And so this book, being very coastal, was such a cool read for me. Just so much was good. So much was good about this book. And my avocado plushie thinks so too. So, you got a book recommendation from an avocado plushie. Remember that. Yeah. I don't think there's any mention of avocados in this book. Actually, there might have been one mention of avocado in this book. Possibly. No, never mind. I was thinking of a different breakfast thing that somebody mentioned. Anyway, I'm gonna set the plushie aside for now, just to show you the book one more time. It's a library copy. They Bloom at Night. Oh, and this is my second book that I've read by Trang Thanh Tran. They're a non-binary author, and they also wrote She Is a Haunting, which I covered on this channel before. So if you want something that is similar sort of writing and vibes to this, but is set in Vietnam and is more haunted house sort of vibes with bug horror, that's what you'll get in She Is a Haunting. So, yeah. So I recommend you check that one out as well. But yeah. Oh, I just noticed this book got endorsed by Kozuko Jackson. That's cool. author of The Force Demands Its Due. I also covered that book. And that's another good horror book as well. That I've also covered on this channel. I was just looking at the back where the endorsements are, the little quotes where people talk about how good the book is, you know. Yeah, it's okay. So I think that's about it that I have to say for today for this book. So thank you so much for listening. You are an awesome listener. Avocado Plushie thinks so too. And I hope that wherever you go next, whatever you do next, that it is fun and or relaxing